Let's jump to the waiver wire. We have 13 teams with 4 games next week. The Clippers, Kings, and Spurs only have 2 games. My first suggestion, my available in 50% of leagues player is Patrick Beverley, who is 30% rostered on Yahoo. Over the past 2 weeks, he's averaging 12 points, 4.8 assists, 4.2 rebounds, and almost 2 combined blocks and steals. The main thing here for me is that he has basically been fantasy relevant all season long whenever he's healthy. He always is dealing with injuries and stuff like that, which makes it tough. But he has been in the mix all year, and the fact that he's 30% rostered, I think he's coming off an injury. He just needs to be more rostered than that. One of the more underrated guys in fantasy. Him and Hartenstein are the guys I could mention every single week that should be on teams, but just perennially are under rostered.
It's surprising how productive Pat Bev has been. Age 33, a new team. I was not expecting this with Minnesota. I'm amazed that he's basically been a fixture in the starting lineup for the vast majority of the season. Not eye-popping numbers, but 9.5, 4.3, 4.8 on the year with 2 combined stocks and enough 3-pointers to give you some value there. It certainly gives you it's workable in a lot of formats.
Who is your first suggestion?
So I'm going to go back to the Blazers and it's Trendon Watford and Drew Eubanks. Both of them should be scooped up. Like I said, I do not expect Nurkic to return. Even if you're worried about Winslow taking some of the value away from Watford's recent stretch, that didn't appear to be a worry in the first game back for Winslow. They started Winslow at the 3. They were previously starting him at the 4. But Ellsby was the one who was yanked from the starting lineup, and Watford stuck. So I think Watford's locked into the starting lineup moving forward. He has started 4 of the past 5 games, but it's impossible to ignore the production we've seen from him. I've talked about him a couple times in the past, 4 or 5 weeks. Over the past 7 games, 33 minutes, 17 points, 7.7 rebounds, 3.3 assists from a big man, most likely a power forward eligible player in your league. Very quality, 1.1 blocks, respectable 48% from the floor and 88% from the line. And he's almost hitting 1 3-pointer per game. Tons of value there. And then with Drew Eubanks, again, Nurkic is out. I would assume that they're just gonna keep riding with Eubanks. He started to pick it up a little bit in the past few games, so he's an inconsistent guy. If you've ever played DFS on nights where he was getting spot starts when he was on the Spurs, you probably plugged him in, and there's like an 80% chance you were disappointed by it, even if he was a minimum price player. But he's starting to get a consistent 30 plus minutes over the past 3 games, 33 minutes per, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and good shooting percentages. He doesn't offer much on the defensive side, but it's hard to scoff at 15 and 10 for a guy who's available in like 80% of Yahoo leagues.
Yeah, like you mentioned, we had seen Eubanks put up some like low-level fantasy numbers when Jakob Poeltl was out and other guys were out for the Spurs. He's on his 3rd 10-day contract right now, so they're going to have to make a decision because I think you only get 3. I would assume they just bring him on for the rest of the year because they seem to be in that mode. But that is something you need to at least be conscious of in case they feel like, hey, Winslow's back. We're going to just go Watford at center. But both are good suggestions. My available in 25% of leagues player, the long shot of the week, is Donte DiVincenzo. The Kings only have 2 games, so don't expect to pick him up and start him this week. He's more of a hold for the end of the year when it seems like the Kings will be out of it, and they should probably start prioritizing young guys and maybe not play Harrison Barnes, 48 minutes a game and stuff like that. DiVincenzo's been solid, man. I mean, this is how he, kind of was with the Bucks, last year before he got hurt. He's out here averaging over the past 2 weeks 10 points, 4.2 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1 steal, efficient shooting, ranked 110th per game. It's just he'll put up numbers anywhere between like 150th and 75th per game in fantasy. Just a decent back end roster guy, especially for 14 teamers.
Yeah, he's a good option, and I agree with you. I think they're going to give him more minutes down the stretch. I was really surprised. He made a spot start for the Kings earlier this week, on the 14th against Chicago. Had a very good game. I assumed he was just going to continue to be in the starting lineup from that point forward, but they brought Justin Holiday back, who I think returned from injury, and he started again. At some point, I believe they'll give up on that and just go with Donte. So I agree. I think he's a good option. My long shot of the week is Goga Bitadze for the Indiana Pacers. I've talked about Goga on this before. He's starting to pick it up a little bit, doing a little bit better. And also I wanted to bring him up because Isaiah Jackson is in concussion protocol right now. Good chance he misses a few games. They have Jalen Smith, Brissett, Terry Taylor. There are other options the Pacers might go with, but I think we've seen enough from Goga, who is also questionable. He's missed a couple games, missed the past 2 games, and is questionable for tonight. But in the 3 games before the 2 that he's just sat, he had 15. Was averaging 15 and 7 with 1.7 blocks per game in only 21 minutes per. That's good for over 30 fantasy points per game in that stretch. If Isaiah Jackson sits and Goga returns, Goga is going to be a good streaming option if you're in a deep league.
Yeah, Goga's been dealing with a foot injury for a while. He's been in and out of the lineup. His performances have suffered, but he's still a guy that for basically since he's been in the league, this is either his second or his third year, I can never remember. He's been like a threes and blocks upside guy who can rebound a little bit. Like the per 36 numbers look great. It's just him putting it together consistently is another story.